thank you for devoting a little bit of your time to come down and talk with us, see how the government's run. Tell us what we're not doing right. Be sure to tell us what we're doing good too. But it is good to see each one of you. Just ask you at this time, please stand with us as we go and we do our invocation. Father, we just come to you today so proudly that we can call you Abba Father. Lord, we just ask that you would be in the midst of this meeting. Lord, anoint it with your Holy Spirit. That's what's necessary here. Lord, just give us the insight that is needed to transact and carry out the business of this county. And as always, Lord, just please forgive us in the many ways that we fail you. In Christ Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. It's that time when we need to adopt the agenda. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Is there a second?
I want to make a comment before we adopt.
Oh.
We get a second?
Yes, ma'am.
On the agenda, on old business, item number 2, it says confirmation of contract, Meriwether County Fire Stations. I believe that word should be approval of contract instead of confirmation, because it has not been, as far as I know, it has not been approved.
Yeah, that's right. Board, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda with the...
Well, we didn't get a second, do we? Are you...
Well, we're going back and just...
To adopt the agenda?
Yeah, adopt the agenda.
Addition? Okay.
Yes, we are. Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda with the change from confirmation to approval.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor? So passes. Our minutes are here attached, and you probably have an opportunity to read them. Do I hear a motion we accept them? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Minutes so pass. Municipal comments. Let me see. I know. Mayor Charlene, I finally can see you over there.
Thanks for the opportunity. I really don't have anything I used to there, but.
All that strain I went to. Mayor Hancock.
Same thing, thanks for the opportunity, I'm good.
Councilwoman. Well, thank you. Councilwoman Robin, would you have any comments?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Is there any other municipalities out there that I don't see? Okay. At this time, we're moving on to our constitutional officers. Byron, I see you over there.
Yes, we have none.
None? And I believe you're it. Okay, we'll move right along here. Department head, Skipper.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Tyrell?
All right.
I'm working my way where I can see everybody. Alphonse?
You know, I just want to say it feels like Christmas morning. It's exciting to see the progress in the groundwork that's being laid out, so.
Oh, great.
I'm just tickled like a big. That's all I have.
Ron, I see you back there.
I don't have none.
Miss Jane?
Not at this time, thank you.
Miss Carolyn?
I have 3 dates to bring to your attention. One is, we have 2 ribbon cuttings this week for businesses in Manchester. One on Friday morning at the Anytime Fitness gym, that's on the Warrensburg Highway in Manchester, and then the Posh Swan Nail Salon on 2nd Avenue in Manchester will be Saturday morning. So both of these will be 10 o'clock, one Friday morning, one Saturday morning. New businesses in Manchester, if you can come out and support them, that would be fabulous. You come out to the Anytime Fitness, he said to wear your comfortable clothes because he wants to take you through a few moves, so. Last Friday, a few of us met with Commissioner McCoy and Mr. Bill Gregory and a few other folks to discuss the, sort of summarize what happened in our March 9 meeting with our Community Leaders Forum, and to talk about how to take that a step forward. And we have agreed to bring everybody back together on the 13th, and we have an agenda that we mapped out. And Steve Ledbetter from the city of Woodbury has volunteered to facilitate that conversation. The main objective will be to say, now that we've all agreed we want to do some things together, what is that going to look like and how are we going to move forward? So I hope that all of y'all will be able to attend that. That's on April the 13th here in this building at 10 a.m. And Georgia Power is going to furnish our lunch.
What
And then-
time did you say? I'm sorry.
10 o'clock, that's okay, 10 o'clock. And then on April the 17th, we have scheduled a post-legislative briefing, and we have commitments from Representative Buckner, Representative Trammell, and Senator Josh McCoon, along with a representative from Dean Ferguson's office. So that will be held here at 6 p.m. on April the 17th, that's a Tuesday evening. So I hope you all can come. Johnny, I would hope that you can make that or put that on your calendar as well. April 17th, I'll send you an announcement. Yes, I'll send you an announcement. Can you put it in the paper, please, Johnny? Okay, thank you.
So that is his birthday. Not gonna be there, sorry. Got dinner plans.
So that you could send somebody, Kathy, to a post-legislative
Yeah, I think
briefing?
we sent somebody.
Thank you.
I'll be me though.
That'll be fine. We wouldn't want you to have to give up your birthday celebration. That's all I have. Thank you, Commissioners.
Well, thank you, Ms. Carroll. Did I miss anybody? Okay. Moving right along, there is no need for a public hearing tonight. So that launches us right into old business, and the first item is appointment of Airport Authority District 5. Ms. Smith.
And I am ready for that. Mr. David Jenkins is in the audience, and he's going to come up and say a few words to us, but he and his wife live in Luthersville. They wanted to become involved in the county, the things that are going on here. Mr. Jenkins is a former Army helicopter pilot and continues to fly helicopters with the Georgia Forestry Department. So he has expressed an interest in serving on the Airport Authority, and I asked him if he wanted to say anything, so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll keep it brief. I don't have a whole lot, but I'd like to thank Commissioner Hadley for the confidence that she placed in me by making the nomination. There's a lot of exciting work going on with the Airport Authority now, a bunch of hard-working gentlemen. I'd be honored to serve with them. So that's all I have.
Thank you. So I'd like to make that in the form of a motion to appoint Mr. David Jenkins to the Airport Authority.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Well, is there any discussion at all first? Good. All in favor? All right. The second item we have here under old business is approval of contract Meriwether County Fire Stations. Mr. Thurman, you may want to introduce the topic.
Yes, sir, I sure will. We have some representatives here tonight from Principal Williams Construction. Let me kind of go over and, address what we're looking at with everyone. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you have and ask you guys to consider the options and move forward. So at your 3/13/18 meeting, the board had rejected all the fire station bids and asked us to negotiate with the low bidder, Principal Williams Construction. And we have now completed those negotiations with them, and we reduced the original bids on the first 4 stations by $1,014,000. And in your confidential packets, and I don't want to release their information until we know where we're working on it, because I don't want to put them at a disadvantage. But you'll see that there's a lot of calculations here. The first one is the Louisville station. We had to go back and we looked at things that we could value engineer to reduce this. We cut 3 bays to 2, and we had advised during our presentation to the public that depending on bids, we might have to do that. We lowered the building height, and that was available and possible because of the mezzanine. We reduced the mezzanine to a frame mezzanine as opposed to the steel mezzanine. We reduced the roof pitch to a 1:12. This, made it a simpler construction process, allowed us to be able to lower the eaves a little bit and save some material. We reduced some of the asphalt footprints. We're also going to look at the possibility of going out and contracting that paving separately, or we may need to go back and negotiate with them, but we can get some prices on that. We removed the brick that was around the office area, and we replaced it with a stone water table in the front, which is like 30 inches high. I think that'll look really good. We did wood framing on the mezzanine with no concrete masonry units. We take the copper pipe and put it back to CPVC, and that actually works better with it being on a well. Anyway, we reduced the fee and overhead as requested. We had asked them to consider that, and they did that and decreased that for each of the stations. Our original bid, keep in mind that Principal Williams was the low bid, but our original bid was $716,500. That was for Luthersville. We now have that down to $505,500. And if you take out the grading cost and everything, it's down to $418, and that's $104.69 a square foot. And with Luthersville, we added back in several items. We added back in the third bay, and the reason we did that was because there is an EMS unit at that location. We upgraded the front roll-up doors on all the stations because we'd taken those out and we wanted to put windows back in the roll-up doors for some natural light. And of course, we added the stone water table in the front. So we were able to, working with Principal Williams, take care of that on the Luthersville station. On the Lone Oak station, the original bid was $177.48 a square feet or square foot, or $709.99. We were able to bring that down to $445.785, and that's $148 a square foot. If you take out the groundwork and grading, you're down to $128 a square foot. Same changes there. We did add back in the upgraded front doors with a window and the stone water table in the front. We did not add the bay on that one because there was no EMS unit at that location. Odessa Dale, very similar. We've reduced it to a 2-bay. And we went from $187.38 a square foot down to $161. The reason it's a little bit more is there's a lot of site work to be done on that track. But if you take away the site work and everything we've done, it still comes down to $129.47 a square foot. The Duran station, very similar. Started out at $186.38 a square foot, and we're now to $156.58 a square foot. And $129.24 if you take out the grading and everything of that nature. Again, the added back in items were the upgraded front roll-up doors with a window and the stone water table. And in your packet also is a breakdown of each of the items that was reduced. There's also a copy of the items and the specifications that were changed. Now, at this time, we had originally estimated, I know, we were hoping at 250 and some other things, but I think our original estimates were more in the 325,000 plus range, because actually we had initially $3 million in for our bond, and we bumped that to $3.5 million to be able to help cover some of the cost. And in doing so, we feel like utilizing the dollars in our bond plus dollars in the fire district that we will not expend this year, we think we can bring all 8 of these stations in, within our budget. So at this time, I see our options as this. I think we can accept the negotiated prices and move forward on the first 4 stations, which is what I would recommend. We could see the contractor will honor negotiated prices on maybe single stations, 1 or 2. We could reject the bids, negotiate the price, and rebid. That's going to take probably 2 months worth of time to do that. We could reject and kind of try to manage it in the house, but we got so many things right now, I just don't think that's plausible. When we get to looking at our substations, we do believe we can manage those in the house. And one of the things that we'd like to see, and I would recommend, is moving forward with these. Looking at the other bids, I think these are fair prices. We're getting into a period of time when construction is going to really get started. Grading, weather's good, things are going to go. We also are working with a little different economy than we were 2 or 3 years ago. A lot of the contractors, and of course they can speak for themselves, are very busy right now. And I spoke with a contractor I know that's a friend of mine in another jurisdiction, and during the 2008-2010 period, he was bidding work, and he's not he's in the pipeline business. And he was bidding work for basically no profit, just to keep his employees up and keep them paid. Well, those were the kind of prices that were unbelievable. Now, there's a lot of work out there. And again, I think there's a 2 to 3 month delay in the process, and we try to go back and respec them all. Now, going forward, what I would recommend that we do is when we take these redesigned value engineered components, and we'll incorporate those back into our plans. And when we get ready to go out for the next bid, we'll incorporate those into the next series of bids. So hopefully we can have, a really good price coming in. And so my recommendation would be approval, moving forward on these 4. I know it's been a long time, and I know I'm very anxious to get these going out of the ground. I know you guys are as well. We still have a lot of work to do this year. We got 4 more to build, and we want to move forward with those. We've got land on we've got land on 2 of those, and we're going to be working on land for the other 2, and we've got the specs now, so it's going to be a lot quicker on the bid process for the next 4. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys have. We have some guys, Leon and Sykes here tonight. If you guys, board has any questions, they'll be happy to answer those, and I'll be happy to answer anything I can.
At this time, I guess I need a motion to second, then I can only go for discussion. Do I hear a motion that we move with the first 4 fire stations?
I have a question. If there's discussion, is that after the
After the motion, second, that was.
I think we discussed it before.
Yeah, I think
If you'd like.
I'd like to discuss it before. Just one thing, the Lono. I know Luthersville is because of the EMS.
Right.
But in the comprehensive, we're in the midst of working on the comprehensive plan, and through the meetings with the steering committee, it's kind of been discussed that a lot of the growth that would, if you had to target the growth in Meriwether County, is going to be on the northern end. And with the growth that we have right now with the industrial park and the potential growth, I would like to know what additional costs would it be to continue to have that 3rd bay in Lone Oak? Because once again, as we grow and expand, it's having that option to have there. I know we had to make some adjustment, I understand that, but what are the options do we have so that as the northern end, and especially the industrial park grows, we've had some challenges already with the industrial park, and I don't want to go into that, but being able to make sure we're servicing that area as we grow, so that 5-10 years from now, we're not as obsolete. And while the work is being done, how feasible is it to put that 3rd bay back into that?
Well, the cost for that overall is about $40,000 to add that bay back in. And what we did ask them to do is, when they do the ground prep and all for these stations, we asked them to, on the living side, bay side, we asked them to leave the bay side flat and graded, where if we needed to expand that in the future, we don't have any conflict with septic tanks or electrical or anything of that nature. So it would be simply a matter at that time of pouring the slab and, and taking down that one wall, adding them, and put the end cap back up. So it's one of those things that we've, in talking with the contractor, we've determined one of these days we're going to need to grow these stations more. And so we want to leave the ground in a good condition where it can be expanded. And again, the reason we're looking at Luthersville is because there is an EMS unit there. Greenville Station will probably also be additional bays because that's our central station. Plus it has an EMS unit. And if we ever have a specialized piece of equipment like a ladder truck or something, makes a lot of sense to centralize that. So this design is such that it can expand. But to add additional bay right now is about $40,000.
Okay, thank you. A couple more things. I want to make a statement, and first of all, before I make the statement, I want to say to Mr. Gay and to Bill and to everyone who's worked on this project, to the chief, a lot of people behind the scenes has worked very hard in getting us to the point where we at around the fire stations. For those who know, almost 4 years ago, when I found out about the conditions of the fire station at Primrose, it became a very personal thing for me to make sure that this county had the facilities that could address the growth and as well as service the community. So I'm very proud of all the work that has gone into this and where we at right now. So I want to applaud everybody who's had a hand in this, and including this board, because once again, with the vision of this board, realizing the importance of this, we went and got the fire district and the fire bonds. A lot of work went into this. So this is why the next statement I make is very difficult for me. Unfortunately, when there's a time to cast a vote, my vote's going to be a little different than what I would like it to be, and I'll tell you why. In the earlier, I asked for adopting the agenda, I asked that we make an adjustment because the term on the agenda says confirmation of contract instead of the approval of contract. At the last commissioners meeting, when the information was brought to us that all 6 bid was over what we estimated to be, we then agreed as a board to have our county administrator to go back and talk to the lowest bidder, which they did. And in so doing, Mr. Gay just presented some of the information and the adjustment that was made. And I'm glad that we were able to make that adjustment. But one of my concerns is that I found out in reading my package that the contract was signed on Wednesday, March the 21st. And my concern is that I was always under the impression, and maybe our attorney can correct this, that the board has to approve a contract before the contract becomes binding. And based on the signing of the contract, it had not been voted on prior to that. So I wish that we can correct this. I don't know if there's a way to correct it. And I also want to know, by doing this procedure, does it bind this board in any way, in a compromising way? So once again, I just feel that there's a process by which things are done, and I just want to make sure that by signing this, in what way has it compromised this board, or is it, maybe it hasn't. But I just want to make sure that things are done decent and in order and transparently. So.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may address that. The contract was not signed, it may say Wednesday, it was not signed on Wednesday. I think it was signed Friday. The hope was, because we're all anxious to get this going, they had to have their graders out. So we said, I'm going to go ahead and call and see if I can get the board, get the blessing to go forward. If we can, fine. As it turned out, the public commissioners were not available. There were some questions. I called the contractor and said, listen, we're going to wait until Tuesday night. I don't have the confirmation or the okay from the board to go ahead. So that was what we did. The contract's been on delay. I think it may say the 21st. We didn't sign it on the 21st. And regardless of that, it really becomes approved tonight when you guys approve it. We did go ahead and ask that the contractor, the graders come on in, because if the graders, they have to have a schedule. If we lose the graders, they may be 2 months before they can come back and do the grading. So we wanted to go ahead, we're very anxious, and I was ready to roll this thing, and if anybody's at fault with that, it's me, but it really was not intended to put the board in any harm's way whatsoever. And when I could not reach a couple of you, and I had some questions from the others, I called the contractor and said, put everything on hold, except the grader we already had, until we can discuss this Tuesday and get board approval or disapproval and go from there.
Okay, Mr. Gay, then answer this for me. Was there any mobilization of funds provided?
We did go ahead and give them some dollars to be able to get some buildings ordered, but again, I talked to them and asked them to hold those, not do anything until after tonight's meeting.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
And I have a few things also. You want to go ahead?
Well, my question is to Susan, and I would just like for her to answer that question.
If it were not approved by the board, it would be void.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, guys, this is, this is nothing we're trying to do to sneak by anybody or do anything like that. I mean, we're trying to get this thing done. I've been dealing with this for a year and a half or 2 years. And honestly, with everything else we got going, we need to move this project along. And we need to do it pretty quick.
Oh, Mr. Gay, I appreciate you sharing that, and my thought, and the reason I'm bringing this up is I don't think anything was done deliberately or anything of that nature, but once again, I know that nothing's binding until it was approved by the board, so that's the reason I asked to make the change on the agenda to the word approval. I want us to be transparent, and, things happen, and truly, this board and you and your staff have worked unbelievable hours to make this happen. I just don't want to put us in a position that would compromise this board.
I would never put that out.
I didn't say you. I just said I didn't want anything to happen that would. It's not a personal thing. It's just, once again, making sure that we as a board are doing things.
And that's why it's back here. You would have got the same information regardless. If I'd have been able to talk to you, the board has some questions. Call the contractor, said, hold everything. What I've done in the past, the board's all fine, and this policy I've used forever, and I think I told Commissioner McCoy this. If I call the board and everybody's fine with it, I'm ready to move forward. If anybody has any issues with it, then I'm gonna hold it, and that's what we did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just have one more question for Ms. Susan. I know that a lot of times there's open record, and by this contract being signed on one date and the board approving on another date, does that?
No, it'll be in the minutes. It will be a binding contract pending approval.
I think the contract was the date of contract.
There was a summary that was the 21st.
Yeah.
My turn. All right. Originally, we spoke that it was 250 to 300 per.
Well, we got 250 out there, but I think that's what we were hoping and dreaming for, but that never really was a figure, because that would have left us with only $2 million in our construction.
No, I understand it.
We wouldn't have gone to.
There's more to it.
All right.
So originally, 200 to 300 is what, when we went out and everyone spoke to the citizens to talk, and I do know that 300,000 was there, so let me finish.
Okay.
When we did the bond amount, what were we hoping to get out of that original bond? Employees?
No. It's been bond money of employees. We're hoping to get fire stations,
Trucks. And now we can't get trucks.
We've
Out of that
already
money.
ordered.
Out of that money. And we'll still be able to do this with the amount of bond money.
Well, no, we're gonna have to take some of our district money that we're not using this year because we haven't had the stations up and going.
How much district?
Probably $700,000, $800,000 worth of district money. And of course, it's the same taxpayers, it's the same group. And we're not gonna utilize those funds this year for personnel costs. So we could use them for this. It goes back to the district, only the district people will pay for it.
I agree 100% that we need to get started on this, but I think we need to do two, and I think we need to take it back to the table to renegotiate, because we do need to give these citizens exactly what they voted for within that amount. We don't need to spend almost another $100,000, $1 million on it, in my personal opinion.
I understand.
And, it may bite me in the butt, and I'm sorry if it does, and it may come back that it's higher at a different time, but I cannot vote to move forward with 4 of these that's going to cost an additional almost $1 million.
Well, here's the thing. Here's a presentation, original presentation. Nowhere in here does it say 300,000.
And to me, nor does it say we're gonna have to get another $700,000 or $800,000
Yes,
to
out
take
of
care of this.
our other dollars, because the pricing, is more. We could have asked more in the bond. We could have said $5 million in the bond, but it may not pass. Citizens only have a certain level. And again, with the dollars we've collected in fire district, we'll be able to get this project done. We already ordered 2 trucks.
I still think we just need to do 2 and go out for rebid.
that'll be,
I think we got to rebid though, we run the risk of
We do.
being even higher because
I think you-
nobody thought the economy was gonna be like it is today when we first started talking about this.
That's
I
just
mean,
my opinion, and I
we got
think
the
that
issue
we
with-
may have to risk it.
My thinking was, if you went ahead and approved 4 tonight, we would take that second 4 and scrutinize to the point, just to see if there's anything out there that we could glean. And I understand your concern with World 2, but I'm wondering what that's gonna do when we try to exact that or try to do that.
and we won't put them on the spot right now, but we do need to ask the contractors if they'd be willing to honor the prices on them doing too. And I haven't, I've asked them to think about that, but they haven't told me yea or nay. So I'd like to see what,
So we need to ask them.
can I ask them?
Leon, would you consider 2 right now into this?
We would have to look at it, though, because our general conditions are spread over 4.
Yes, sir.
So we have to look at it and see. I can tell you, because this is what we do, if you go out for bids again, at any point in the future, steel's going up by 25%, and that's real. So you're gonna pay, you're talking about, easily per station, $75,000, times at least 25% on that alone. And, we mobilized the graders yesterday just because, they had a little window to come do these, and they're gonna do the 2, the plan was to do the 2 up north and then immediately go down 2 on the south end. And within less than a month, they'll be finished, And we were ready to push these along because we have other projects to go do as well. And so we have a window to do these things too. So, we were hoping to be able to do all 8 and try to hold these prices as best we can, but, as soon as we lock in the metal building price, it's fixed, but it's about to go up. We know that, so.
Well, Leon, there's nothing to say that you won't do all 8. We're just fishing right now. Yeah.
It's up to you. I mean, we've got a lot of work in the hopper right now, as every reputable contractor does right now. So, we're so close to you guys. It takes us, 25 minutes to get here, so.
And it's nothing against y'all, it's just that we're such a poor county, and we've come so far with our budget here that I don't want to just make do and be okay with spending almost an additional $1 million of these taxpayers' money just because we screwed up something, or it appeared to be to me there, and it did to me.
I disagree with you, but.
So, I don't want to go out and spend an additional $1 million of taxpayer money just to build what we promised them that we could do in a certain amount.
I'd like to finish my comment, please. I was interrupted before and did not finish, okay?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
We run a huge risk of paying out a lot more money to do these 4. I'm in the business where we sell stuff with steel. We can't even book anything and give anybody a guaranteed price on fencing, poster, anything, because it's changing every day. And y'all, we got to get these things coming out of the ground. The citizens voted on this thing a year ago, November. In their mind, we were about to start on them. Now, we know we wasn't going to collect the money until this tax year, other than the bond. Yes, we got that. We were probably dreaming, hoping we were going to get them for $250. I don't have to pay any more for them either.
Right.
But my gosh, if we wait, we may not even get but 4 buildings built, period, because the steel industry is so volatile right now. And who knows what's going to happen with this country. Every time we turn around, just talk about tariffs or whatever, it's driving everything sky high. Plus, the economy is better for us construction. It's not better for us some things, but for us construction is this. Those prices are going to keep going up. I think it would be a mistake not to move forward with these 4. And then when it's time for the next 4, let's put it out for bid again. It may be way higher, but maybe it would be less and we go with those 4.
Well, when you estimate, that's what it is estimate. And we also considered the fact that if we asked the taxpayers for too much of bond, they wasn't going to do it. And I was a little surprised, honestly, and so was the architect and others on what the prices come in at. But after looking at them, and I think the other bids we received were just exactly what you were saying. The market is busy right now. And we had some of these folks who were quoting almost $1 million per station. And so again, my recommendation would be to, move forward. We'll do whatever the board wants us to do.
And I know we need to move forward with them. Don't get that
Yeah.
wrong. I just don't want to spend the additional money that we can do roads with, that we can do something else to.
We can't do it with this
No,
money.
I'm talking about if you pull money from somewhere else.
Yeah, but we're pulling it from fire district, only be
Okay.
spent for fire district.
Okay.
Can't be pulled over to anything else.
But we could use it to purchase other trucks and things like that instead of building more stations, right?
Well, you could,
Yeah.
you could, yeah, you could
But
do that.
I also want to make a comment. We do have some other options as far as we can look at other resources we're going to apply for the SAFER grant.
Right.
Hopefully we get that. We can go through USDA. So we do have to be cognizant of how we spend the money, but we also, as Ms. Hadley just said, we also got to realize the economy and what it is right now. So, so I think it's a hard decision, but we have made a commitment to the citizens. And, I've had people ask me several months, when are we going to see a fire station? When are we going to see a fire station? And so at the end of the day, it is something we promised, it's something we're going to do. I know it's challenging because things are going up, but I would ask the board once again, as we do whatever we decide to do, that we also start thinking a little bigger and broader on other resources that we can bring in. We can tap into USDA, we can tap into some other programs that I think we don't utilize as much as we can, but we've got to have to be creative in whatever we do. But at the end of the day, we've got to fulfill our commitment.
Well, the SAFER grant is something that I know Bill and others are working on. We've not been able to take advantage of it in the past because we didn't have because it's kind of like a seed grant. It allows you to be able to start up something, but then you've got to continue it. Up to this point, we had no way to continue it. Now we have dedicated dollars to continue. But if the SAFER grant can help us reduce some of those personnel costs, those can be taken because they're in the fire district back to get other equipment and things we need like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Any further discussion? I think I'm saying it's a dangerous grant, but I'm going to call for a motion.
I make a motion to proceed with the 4 fire stations as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm only an asshole when I think of it.
Okay, that concludes old business. Under new business, the first item we have is the summer focus program. And I think I was hitting something there just a minute ago. And it's
Miss Carolyn.
Miss Carolyn.
Miss Beverly Ball.
And Miss Beverly Ball, y'all be doing the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, come on up, Miss Beverly.
Ms. Beverly Ball is going to do the presentation. I'm here as her agent. And her advocate, so
Thank you, Miss Beverly.
I'll be here when you need me.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to begin by just showing you a slide of some of the things that we have done in the summer camps. So we're going to start off with our summer camp in Lucasville is our oldest camp.
Hold on just a second, Miss Beverly. Can y'all hear her?
Not real good.
Pull that mic up a little closer there, if you would, Miss Beverly.
The music out there.
Oh, she fixed that microphone, we'll be able to hear her. Yeah. Go ahead and try it.
Hello, testing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. The summer camp started in 2008, and we started in St. Mark, Georgia, which is down the road. And we started with 25 students in a little one-room schoolhouse. The second year we were there, we outgrew that little one-room schoolhouse. So we approached Mayor Tramble, who was then the mayor of Lucasville, if we could come to Lucasville and have our summer camp there. And he graciously agreed and gave us some rooms to do that. So we went in 2010, we were in Lucasville up until the present day. So that's where we are. We have partnered with my church, St. Paul CME Church. We have a mentoring men's program that goes into Greenville Middle School and Greenville High School to mentor young men.
We partner with the school system. We go into the schools to assist where we need it. We have partnered with DFACS of Meriwether County to support families in crisis, and we also will do a suitcase project with them. We have partnered with Meriwether Rec Department. We use the gym in Woodbury for our summer camp. We partner with Paxson. They give us workers for our summer camp, and we are a member of the Chamber of Commerce. All our volunteers are 100% volunteers. We have no paid staff, and most of the money sometimes come out of our pocket. So I'm going to show you just a little clip on what we've done, and I'll try to navigate through it and talk about it while we're doing it.
I'm gonna restart it, it's done the cookies.
Okay. Well, while he's restarting, I'll continue to talk. Our concern when we started the summer camp was that our kids were getting farther behind in the summer. They have that gap between when school stops and when school starts, and they lose a lot. So that was our purpose of starting the summer camp. We wanted to kind of bridge the gap, and our camps focus on math and reading skills, and we also focus on character building and character education. We also partner with the school district for the federal feeding program during the summer months, and we operate Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8:30 to 1:30, but this year we're going to include go as far as 2:30. We give breakfast, lunch, and snacks to the students, and we also have an activity period for them. Okay. Are we ready? There we go. Okay. No music? That's okay. I can talk through. I can have my agent. You up, Miss Carol? Okay. This is. Oops. Okay, this is one of our pictures where we went to the Space Museum in Columbus, Georgia. One of our goals too is to make sure we take our kids on educational field trips, because we think it's so important for them to know there's something outside of their little world, their little bubble that they live in. Okay, this is the part of the educational field trips. This was at Oxbow Meadows and Environmental Center in Columbus, Georgia. The children love going there because they get a chance to do nature things. I didn't like it, but they did. This was our first and our last garden. It was really good. The kids really enjoyed it. They enjoyed working with it. I mean, I didn't, but they did. It was kind of interesting because they thought a tomato was just what you go and get out of the store. They didn't know that you could really grow a tomato, what a tomato vine would look like. They didn't know how fast a watermelon vine would grow and how it would spread. So they were really, really curious. The neighborhood benefited from the watermelons that we grew. This is a part of our classrooms. This was the smaller kids. This is the larger kids having a session. We were the computer labs. The computers were donated to us, and we do use them for research. We have themes every year. Last year we had a theme. We did the butterfly theme when you guys were doing the butterfly gardens and things. We did that, and the kids really enjoyed that. Last year we did airplanes. It went well in Luthersville. It didn't go over that well in Woodbury. Okay. I think I went too far. Okay. In Luthersville, we always had a helicopter and ambulance day. The neighborhood really came out to see this because they enjoyed seeing the helicopter come, and the senior citizens came out also, and they enjoyed seeing the helicopters come. I have to tell you a story. The first time we had the ambulance to come out, I forgot to tell the senior citizens that the ambulance was coming. Wrong thing to do. They thought that somebody in the senior citizens building had kicked over, and they were all running out, you know, who is it here for, who is it here for, you know, because they're here for the children. They're not really here for you. So I learned my lesson the next time I told them when the helicopter and the ambulance was coming. And this is a part of the children looking at the ambulance and the fire department. And I'm glad to hear about the fire stations. I think it's really important. And I have to say, kudos to the fire station in Luthersville, because they always came out and let the children see the fire truck, and they always answered the questions on what the children had about the firemen and the jobs. That they were interested in how much money you make to do this, you know? and they wanted to know about the water, you know, how do you handle the water and all of that. So it was really interesting, and I really appreciate them coming out. We went to Lake Meriwether. This was another first for the children, because a lot of them didn't know how to fish. And again, this one wasn't for me either. I haven't found mine yet, but I'm gonna find it. Where's the fish? They really enjoyed being at Lake Meriwether fishing. And I'm looking forward to taking them out to the disc golf. Am I saying it right?
Yes,
disc golf, right. Maybe that's one for me, right? I like that. Yeah. So we enjoyed the fishing. And we went to Noonan Utilities for Water and Fun Day. And now I enjoyed this one because they didn't have to get under the water. They could just run through the water, so I wasn't worried about anybody drowning. So this one was really good. Okay, this was at High Falls in Jackson, Georgia. We did that trip. They enjoyed that. These are some of our summer campers. The lady with the black on, she was one of our volunteers. The 3 girls started with us when we first started in Luthersville. So they were like 6th, 7th grade at that time. They are now working for us as junior staffers. And we're so excited that they want to come back to give back to the community. This past year was their 2nd year working with us, and the first year they worked, they asked Reverend Freeman, you know, we can't do this. I know we were not this bad when we were on here. Yes, you were just that way. So it was an eye-opener for them to be able to step in those shoes. And this is a part of field trip to Roosevelt Park. Okay. We also, I can't say we partner with the Braves, but the Braves do offer tickets to nonprofit organizations. So I always put in for tickets. So we did take the kids to a couple of Brave games. Now they want to go to the new Braves. Right. That one. That's way up there. Okay, and this is when we started our first camp in Woodbury. We were so excited because we never dreamed that we could have 2 camps in Meriwether County. Our goal is to have a camp in almost every little place. But when we got our 2nd camp in Woodbury, we were so excited. And this was in June 2016. We had people to come out and teach the kids basketball. We taught the kids how to grow flowers. And this is something we try to do every year. We try to have something growing for the kids so they can play in the dirt and plant seeds and see how they grow. We also have visits from our police officers. They drop by almost every day, just drop in to see how kids were doing and talk to them about safety. A couple of them they wanted to get in the back of the car to see whether they could get out. Not a good idea. You know, they try things. They just like to try things. This is one of our volunteers that came in, and she did hand paintings with them, and it was really messy, but they had a good time doing it. This is what we did in Woodbury because the airplane curriculum did not go over so well. They could not work together. So we just scratched that and we started doing team building skills. That worked better than anything, just to get them to be in a group, to work in a group, to know how to work together. This is our trip this year to Oxbow Meadows, and you can see why I don't like it, because the lady down at the bottom has a snake. That did it for me right there. But it was interesting, very good. Okay, and then we went back to Noonan Utilities, and this is at Woodbury. We had activity day where we played tennis, and the younger kids were on the sliding boards out at the playground. And this is Watermelon Day. We bought watermelons, and you can see Mr. Cuddy there. I don't think he had any, but he enjoyed looking at us eat the watermelon. But it was nice. The kids enjoyed that also. And again, this is our training where we had team building. Packs and volunteers came in and did some team building with the students. And this is our group. And that's the end of my presentation.
So now I have the other part of the job, which is very, very brief. But first of all, I don't think there's anybody that can listen to Miss Beverly talk and see these pictures and hear about this program and not appreciate the significance of this program for our county. I mean, this woman right here is an amazing role model for so many of us, including me. But her sheer staying power, her passion, her commitment, her ability to mobilize these volunteers and to keep those volunteers pumped up and to go out and get all these community partners and literally run this program on a shoestring budget is just absolutely commendable. And remember, she's been doing it now for over 10 years. And how much money do you get paid for this?
Nothing.
Nothing. So we're going to make sure you do a garden again next year.
Oh, no.
Because I really liked coming up there the day y'all were doing the garden. Anyway, what we want to do is request an allocation of funds from the Meriwether County DAPE Fund. We have talked to Sheriff Chuck Smith. He's very much in favor of this program. He has no problem at all with allocation of the funds. He said as long as Bill says he's got that much money to allocate. So that was our next step, to make sure Bill has that much money to allocate, pending approval from you all. So our request is for $7,000 to fund this program. And bear in mind that you have allocated funds in the past. In 2015, you allocated $6,000 for the program. So since 2015, she has been managing under that fund. So we're ready to re-up if you all will approve that.
Since those DAPE funds are, excuse me, strictly for
drugs.
drug awareness.
Oh yeah, she forgot
It's
that.
on
You
there.
forgot
I
that.
forgot the both part.
Okay,
That's the best part.
It's on there though.
Yeah. Yes, but you want me to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
okay.
That was a part of,
Yeah, that was a big
planned
part.
that.
I know. Our theme for this year is going to be drug awareness. We're going to do the whole camp with drug awareness. And what we're going to try to do is incorporate our reading skills with the drug awareness skills. As you know, Sheriff Smith has a drug program that he goes into the school, and it's called CHANCE. But it only targets fifth graders. And it's a select amount of fifth graders that go into that program. Well, we're missing kindergarten, first, second, third, and fourth. Those kids need to start learning about drugs at an early age. We can't really wait until they get to the fifth grade to start teaching them about drugs. They already know when they get there. So what we want to do is to be proactive, and we want to start with our kindergarten. We want to start teaching them about self-esteem, peer pressure, peer conflict, how to resist peer conflict, how to handle things that come up. And it's in the homes, we know that, how to deal with it in the homes. Who can you go to where it's a safe place for you to go to? How can you talk to somebody and be safe when you talk to them? You got to know you can't talk to everybody about this because you're exposing mom and dad, and you know they're not going to do that. But they need somebody that they can go to and they can talk to and they can be comfortable with. This is what we're trying to do with the drug program. We want them to be as well equipped as they possibly can be at an early age. And we have to start with kindergarten. We probably need to start with pre-K. but I don't want to deal with pre-K. So we would like to start with kindergarten. Okay. It does, doesn't it? But I want you to know one thing. I am committed to this program. I'm committed to teaching our kids about drugs. It's in every family. I don't care what color. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're living in the White House. You can be living in the black house, the brown house, the blue house. It's there. And it's here in our community. And we need to address it. Just like you're addressing the fire department, let's address the drugs with the children.
And your curriculum?
My curriculum, I would like to get the DARE. Sheriff Smith has a curriculum also that he used for champs, and he said he will give us as much material that he possibly can, and he will also let Roxy Hightower come out and talk to the children. And but we would like to use the DARE program. I've done some research. I have a copy of it if you would like to see it. It goes into alcohol, it goes into smoking, it goes into inhalants, it goes into prescription drugs. All of these things, what we want to cover with our children. We just want them to be safe and to know.
So now we'll re-ask for the money.
Sorry, I forgot that part.
Thank you for that question. So the request is for $7,000. I know y'all got questions.
Okay, I was gonna ask Mr. Bill again, I forgot what his answer were. We're covered on the 7,000, right? Okay. Do I hear a motion, we meet this request? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? You got it, Ms. Bill.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Beverly, I do have a question. You have done a fabulous job in the community, and I want to applaud you for the work that you do and your group. And I see you partner with a lot of different people, so I applaud you for that. And I'm hoping that the rec department can even work more with you this year as well for some of the things that's going on. So once again, I know it makes a difference. It really does make a difference. And as a community, I'm hoping those who've had an opportunity to hear you today, when they leave here, they will have a sense of, what can I do? What impact can I do? You know, no matter how small or how minute it is, you know, volunteerism is really a wonderful thing to do. I tell people you grow more from being a volunteer than the people that you're helping. And it is an opportunity that we have in the county that we're not tapping into enough. So hopefully we can get more people to know the importance of giving back. You know, I've heard so many great things about your mom, Ms. Freeman, and you seem like you are taking that baton and moving on with it, so I applaud you.
It's a big one. Thank you, I appreciate it.
And I'd actually like to come and volunteer at some point to
Wonderful.
talk to the kids about drugs. Since I'm a registered nurse, I used to do drug rehab.
Awesome.
So I would like to give you at some point to set up a time to come in and talk.
And all of you are invited to come.
What do you say that?
We can't repeat it. Poor kids.
That microphone picked it up on the I need to listen to that.
So, and we appreciate that. That's where it starts.
Let's move on with this agenda. Under new business, we got item number 2, approval to develop ordinance regarding payment of taxes in conjunction with the business license. Mr. Gaines.
Yes, Chairman, I was hoping to be able to have a graph for you guys tonight. I apologize for running out of time. But anyway, we just wanted to get the board's concurrence on moving forward with developing an ordinance that will require, before you can renew your business license, that you have to have your taxes paid on your business property. Not necessarily your home. We don't want to do that no time together. But if you own a business real estate or business personal property, those have to be paid before you can renew your business license. And if the board is okay with that, Susan and I already talked about it. We'll get Ron, and we'll go forward and bring that back for y'all's consideration.
You need a vote or you just need confirmation?
Well,
Yes.
let's do it, buddy.
Okay.
Any discussion before we start?
I do. Once again, this is only for those who have a business, operating business in the county.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so is that a business where you actually have, well, I guess it is, a business. I mean, what about if you have a business and you have a business license, you work out of your home?
Same
We
thing.
still have to have
Well, your
business
home, well, if your home, if your office,
Exactly.
home is your business, then that's gonna be your home then.
So then it would reflect on your property tax for your home.
If that is your business location.
And you use that as your means of business. You identify your home as part of, you work out of your home as a
Right.
business.
Right. Absolutely.
It seems like common sense.
Well, I need a motion, folks, to approve, to develop this ordinance regarding payment of taxes in conjunction with the business license.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Y'all have seen?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Bill, the finance report.
Madam Chairman, you have
Don't do me, Madam Chairman.
y'all have the bank balance report in front of you. The general fund still has a strong balance. The next couple of months will be, April must be pretty challenging. We're finishing up the culvert project, so we'll begin that process of getting reimbursement from FEMA for those funds, and depending on when we get those funds and when we start paying out for paving through the big project, we'll get kind of close in those months, but of course, we'll do the best we can to make sure we got everything covered. The rest of the balance will look pretty good. We'll move the funds from the 911 over to the general fund when we need to do that. I just mentioned we're still on the back burner for the landfill dollars. We'll work to get those where we can use them. And that's all I have unless you guys have any questions.
I do. Getting back to the landfill dollars, was that something that we have to go to the legislature about, or?
It's really kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a gray area,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
We really can't get a definitive answer from the state environmental people or from our auditors or,
Everybody will agree that it's excess for the cost of, dealing with landfill, because we had minimum problems there or whatever. And the reality is that the county's obligated on that anyway. So you have to levy tax and push comes to shove to take care of it
You gotta pay
anyway.
for it one way or the
Yeah,
other.
but you got, $1 million sitting out there that's, we can't utilize. It just sits there and looks at us. And right now,
Can
the
we-
interest is great.
Can we find out whether there's any other county that has done that, or have pursued it in some way? Maybe,
the key may be having, as Charlie mentioned earlier, having that study done again that was done way back when to establish that level of liability.
Have we talked to ACCG to see if they have any input?
We can, well, we will, what they're probably gonna say as well, kind of depends on the thing.
I thought we had reached out to them a long time ago when we first started talking about this. I don't remember what they said.
Yeah, and I think everybody's kind of like, well.
no one wants to make a
do it.
commitment.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I'll talk to Advanced Environmental, our people
Okay.
that do the, the landfill checks for us, and just ask them what it's gonna take. I have actually talked with them about it in the past. But, we certainly believe that if we take some of those dollars and we use them for the recycling garbage program, that's solid waste.
Yeah.
And I think that is about as clean as,
Or even, refunding the general fund for the amount of money that,
Yes.
the 15 grand a year for the report.
For the testing?
I think you can do all those things, but we'll check and see and make sure. I'll talk to guys in Advanced Environmental and see what we need from them. And we discussed it with auditors the last couple of years, and we just need to give them a comfort on it. They agree with us, they just don't want to,
Agree with us.
step out there and win, I guess.
Again, that's all I've got, Commission Chair.
All right, I appreciate that, Mr. Bill. You got it right that time. Mr. Gay.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Just wanted to let you guys know, GDOT is working on a bridge replacement program, bridge for us, and it's on Stovall Greenville Road, and I have a map here somewhere. They're gonna have to, GDOT's gonna cover all of this, And the only thing we'll have to do is provide a detour route. And the detour routes are down dirt roads. But I've talked to Tyrell, and that's not really a problem, because we're not looking at that much traffic. And it probably, the road may be closed for about 6 months till they, till they complete it. But again, this bridge will get replaced at no cost to the county other than just providing the detour route. Thank you. And so I wanted to mention that to you guys. The steering committee, again, is meeting Thursday, this coming Thursday at 3 p.m. We also have another visioning session Thursday at 6 p.m. in Woodbury. Last couple of weeks, we worked a lot on fire stations. We've done 3 visioning meetings, attended the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. And the last thing I want to mention is Beverly gave me this right before the meeting started. And this is from ACCG, and they have indicated that at the conference, they're going to recognize those who have achieved certification since October of 2017. And from Marietta County, we have Commissioner Mary Bray. Ray, we could ask one favor of you. When you pick that up, if you will bring it back here, we'd like to also present that to you here in Marietta.
Okay, thank you. I want to bring it.
We already got you a hanger.
That's my brother boy.
That's all.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jay. I appreciate you giving it. Now we'll begin with our county commissioners. Commissioner Fredville.
I just want to say, I don't want anybody to think in any way that I'm not for those fire housing. I just want to make sure that we are doing our, use Shirley's word, due diligence, and that we're not using taxpayers' money if we don't need to. So I don't want anybody, Johnny. And that's all. And I do want to apologize to Beth. I didn't mean to interrupt you earlier, since you pointed that out.
Okay, Commissioner Bray, I assume you approve that, Commissioner Fredville.
I'm done.
The only thing I have is I put some flyers out in the lobby. I want to remind everyone that we do have an art museum here in Greenville, and they will be having their second open air in Meriwether. That's April the 12th to May the 6th. So I invite you to stop in. They have professional artists coming in from time to time. So I think you'll enjoy it. I mean, the artwork is incredible. So I invite you to stop in.
Is that all?
That's it.
Oh, okay. Since we met last, I did engage in my first town hall meeting over in Woodbury. Kay and I threw one together, Kay King on the education board, and we had about 49, I think, there that night, which did pretty good. So it was interesting to stand up and talk to the folk, and they had their questions, and I think we did our very best to answer them, so they seemed to be satisfied. I also attended the vision rollout over in Woodbury, and since the turnout was low for that, Mr. Theron just mentioned he's going to do another one this Thursday. And one of the key things that I got to do was the Boy Scouts of America Outstanding Citizen Dinner. And I was there, Byron was there, and I thought it was just well done. They did a great job with that. And they had I think, excellent candidate, Miss Hannah, so I thought that was good. The only other thing I wanted to mention, I got a little thing from the DOT, and I opened it up, and they said, we recognize you as having 602 miles of county roads in Meriwether County, and I brought that in. I said, Mr. Thurman, how do we know we got this mileage? Well, we don't, so we're hoping when everything rolls out there with Bryn and with the, GIS system, that we'll be able to go back and actually see what we had. There's a bunch of language in there that they get downright threatening if you don't know how many miles you have, so.
Yeah, you have to report it every year if you don't get your limited knowledge.
I say our limit's based on those miles.
That's right.
So if you got less, you'll be getting less money. Of course, if you got more, we can get more money, but
Wasn't it like 570?
I thought it was 5 something, but I don't.
Yeah, it shows 602.
602 is what they recognize at this point.
And I've been kind of working off that number the last 2 years, so I mean, this is the third year.
Y'all will reckon with life.
That's what they said.
Including any more roads.
We'll check it with the GI.
That's all I have. Commissioner Hadley.
One question, what's the status of Johnson Bullet Road and that culvert?
Yes, Justin Bullet Road, I called yesterday to check on Justin Bullet Road. And, because I hadn't heard from the contractor in a few weeks. They are actually, told me they're gonna try to finish it this week and be able to open it for traffic, hopefully next week. And I'm gonna get the engineers down to just check it, one last time for us and give it an okay. But we've been down during the construction process, don't see the
Just
issue.
didn't have some folks that live out there to ask.
Right.
I mean, you would think it'd been a year, but we
Yeah.
started after Christmas, didn't we?
It did.
I mean, that's the first of the year.
Exactly, first year.
Well, they
And
just
it's a-
assured me it
it's a
had been
major-
5 months. I said, I know it hasn't been that long. Okay, all right, thank you.
And I found the road, by the way. Here's the detour. I'll send that to you guys. Y'all take a look at that. And you may actually get an email or a letter that asks you to, give any comments on the detour route. That's just what GDOT does. Of course, we'll comment back from the county. And I've already talked to Tyrell. We were fine with the detour routes. I've let them know, but, y'all still may get some.
Did you have anything else?
Yes, I do. One, we had a vision meeting in Manchester last week, and it was very well attended. A lot of good comments and all came out of that meeting. Just want to remind you that the Warm Spring Fling is April 14th and 15th. That'll be coming up. And I spent the day today in Macon at the Georgia Production Partnership meeting and then the Camera Ready meeting this afternoon. And we've all talked a lot about how the state of Georgia, is number 3 in film production. But for 2017, Georgia was actually number 1. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to hold on to that, and there's a lot of talk now about the triangle from Los Angeles to Georgia to New York and back. But Georgia is getting more and more of the film industry, getting more of their business, and there was someone there to talk with us today about the incentives. And I want to get some more information on this, because even just citizens can take advantage of those film tax credits. And there's even some still available from 2016. So say you, for some reason, you didn't do your state taxes right, or you still owe them money or whatever, you can go back and buy those film tax credits for some certain percentage on the dollar, and it zeroes out your taxes, but at the same time allows those film credits to be used. And that is one reason Georgia is getting so much of the film business, is because of the incentives. Louisiana and North Carolina both had them. They went back and sort of changed the stream, and I mean, they've lost almost all the business. Louisiana was actually ahead of Georgia at one time. And another thing, there was a lot of discussion about, the city of Barnesville just had an HBO series filmed there, and for the life of me, I can't think of the name of it now. But it was sort of just a fluke. They were looking for a hog farm, and I remember getting the call for that. And of course, we had no hog farms here, but they had one in Barnesville, and that's where it ended up. But they really didn't have anything organized as far as their camera ready. They still have no film ordinance or whatever. But it turned out very well for them. They were just very flexible, and that was one thing the panel talked to us about, was being flexible with the film industry. When they call and want a site, number one, they want it yesterday. When they need to close a road, sometimes it's at the last minute. And I think we have been very flexible. I think our permit process is very simple. That was one thing that they mentioned today. And so I just want to encourage us to keep that in mind, that as we move forward, hopefully we get more contacts with films, that we will continue to be flexible, because once you get a bad name with them, they got plenty of other places that they can go. And I also ran into a lady there, and Miss Jane, you may know her. She says she has bought a lot of the city of Harrelson, but she's been working with Legacy, Rob Frank and Legacy, about some things there, and I'm going to talk to you about that a little bit further. But her idea and dream is to build a sound stage right in in Harrelson, so that would be right here.
Sure, in the middle.
On, huh?
What's your old?
I don't know. That's why we're trying to find a little bit more about her. But I think the potential is there. We've benefited from the film industry already, and I want to see us keep moving with that. We do have some things we need to do with our camera ready group. We had a large group that was interested in that at one time that's sort of fallen by the wayside, but I do have some new information. We do have a group through the chamber or together in Meriwether that's interested in that, so hopefully we're going to have some volunteers, but it is strictly all volunteer. But like if we were to get a big production like the city of Barnesville just got, I mean, it's going to take lots and lots of people working together to make that happen. And their whole city was changed over to a town in Missouri, and it lasted for about 6 weeks, but like I said, it was a good project, good results, and they'll probably get something else just because of the working relationship that they had. That was coming from the top people in the film industry and a scout that was there, location scout that was there today. So just want us to keep those in mind. And I don't really know if this is the place to mention this or not, or ask about it, but on our vote we just took about the business license, is there something that I don't understand about the being in the home, I mean, difference in working out of your home or I have business front. I mean, I just want to make sure I hadn't missed something somewhere, because we've discussed this a lot about having that ordinance about if you don't pay your business property taxes, you don't get your business
And
license.
if that is your place of business, then
Because you claim that on your taxes as a home office, if that's your business,
we all
so.
pay our taxes anyway.
That's right. We shouldn't have to regulate
And,
that
if
you
you're
pay.
making money and you're in the business and, you need to pay your taxes.
Yeah, I just wonder if I've missed something somewhere, because I know, like I said, we've discussed this for some time about it.
Yeah,
And-
I just simply brought it back because I was gonna have you guys a draft of it and I didn't have time. So, that was the only reason I put it back.
Oh, no, I'm just wondering about the difference in, I mean, obviously it's going to be a difference between whether it was in your home or a freestanding business. So I'm
The ordinance does allow home occupation, and those home occupations are inside the residence. A beauty shop's a good example. We got a lot of beauty shops that actually using their residence as their business. We have quite a few home occupation business licenses that we issue every year.
But would there be any reason that they would be allowed not to pay their taxes on their property and still get a business license, as opposed to if they have a freestanding building somewhere?
Enough that if we pass, if the ordinance is passed, they got to show proof of their property tax they pay, where their address, where their business is, that would include a home.
My only problem was with it is that it might put a hardship on that business to, I mean, if they can't already pay the business tax, and then they're going to have to come up with their property tax, then that's an additional burden. I mean, they might be struggling to pay the taxes, but if they cannot maintain their business, then we know that they're not going to pay their taxes because they have no income.
But they wouldn't have a separate business tax if they're in their home, it'd all be one. I mean, I struggle to pay $16,000 in business taxes every year, but I don't have a choice but to pay it, is what I'm saying. Just because mine is freestanding, I don't see where that's any different than.
When you pay your business tax and then you pay your home tax,
Right.
those are two different issues.
That's
Now you'll combine them all in one, business and.
But if they're in their home, they don't have a separate business tax, they just have their tax
Well,
on
I
the top.
understand that, I'm just saying that it's one instead of two, instead of
Okay.
them having to pay two different.
Like I said, I wasn't understanding where it was coming from and what the issue was.
But that was my problem.
Okay.
I think for me personally, I just don't have a clear understanding yet. So I just was not at a position that I could go either way. I kind of understand it, but I just, once you draft it and I read it and I get a better understanding about it, it's a little different, but I understand both sides of it. I just want to see what the language looks like.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then-
like I said,
I was just asking, I didn't understand it makes sense to me, but if there was a difference of opinion, I just really wanted to know what it was.
I'll wrap it up.
Let me be chairman again. Was that your comment?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Commissioner Hines.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Unfortunately, we had a work session, not unfortunately, we had a work session today and I wasn't able to make it, but I understand BOC, a PR marketing firm, did a presentation And you may see signs that's all in, join us, Meriwether Together. They have just done this for the school. I had an opportunity to come listen to their presentation. I hate I missed it today, but hopefully we'll get an opportunity to present to everyone what they shared. So I'm excited that maybe we can join them. I don't know what was decided, but once again, your marketing, your branding is very important, and unfortunately it is whatever you do is your perception people have about your community. And so in these vision meetings that we've had in the county has been such an eye-opener. And one of the things that I probably learned the most is everybody keeps saying communication. You know, how do we communicate? So I know this board has gone out of its way to provide information for people, but I learned today in a workshop that I attended in Atlanta, there's got to be a willingness from the community as well. You've elected us and we are here to represent you, but there's got to be a willingness from the community to get involved. It's almost like you all elected us and you all said, we don't want to do anything else. And it doesn't work that way. Communities work together. When people work together, you get more done, and it spreads it out. So I challenge those who are here today and those who are not here to get more engaged. You know, volunteer some of your time, give of yourself, because you make your community. And unfortunately, I think we have, not unfortunately, I think we have an opportunity to make that happen more than what we're doing. And those who are volunteering their times, like Commissioner Threadgill just volunteered his time, and we know he has a very tight schedule. But through all that he does, he's making time to give back. So we appreciate that, and he's not the only one that can do that. Okay, we're plugging you good.
See, I'm scared to interrupt y'all. I might reprimand.
The other thing I want to mention is, for those who've not had an opportunity to attend one of the vision meetings, the next ones, please go and get involved. But if you can't make it, the survey, we have a survey online that allows you to voice your concerns or where you see Meriwether County in the next 10 or 15 years. Brent's not here, or maybe someone can give us an update on how many have already taken advantage of that.
No, there was like, last week there was like 400.
Really?
Plus, that had already done that. Plus, we have about 100 written forms.
That is good. That is good. I'm glad to hear that. I don't want to leave on a bad note, but I'm excited about the fact that on our website, there's a section that says road work, and you can click that tab, and if there's any particular concern you have about your roads, you can fill it out. It generates an email to the commissioner in that district. Mr. Gay gets one, and Public Works. So this has been my week to get my share. But it's helpful because it allows us to see what the concerns are. So once again, if you're not able to contact anyone specifically, I encourage people to use that tool that we have. And because of that, I had an opportunity to go to Barron Road, Dolly Harris Road, and Lime Creek. And I'm very glad that that information came to us because we were able to address it really soon. Yesterday, I went to Barron Road, and I do want to indicate to Mr. Gay that if we can get that bridge through the GDOT program, unfortunately, the bridge has dropped a little bit, and there could be a lot of reasons. You know, we kind of think it's, I don't want to put a bad name for loggers, but we know the weight. So in so doing, it's dropped. One of my main concern is that 2 roads were closed in that area. Asa Road got closed last year, 2 years ago. Sweet Gums, there's another road. So one of my reasons that I've always had my opinion about closing roads is if that bridge is not accessible, it only leaves those people in that area one means of getting out. So once again, I hope we look at, when we go back and look at closing roads and when we redo our procedure on that we look at every aspect of it. Because the other day when I wrote that, on that, and I saw the cars that were coming, my thought was, please don't let this bridge have a serious problem in what it is. And unfortunately, it's kind of dropped like that.
The good thing, if there is a good thing about that, it's almost already on the ground. So
I don't know if that's I really don't know if you wanted to say it quite like that.
I am going to have VDOT bridge engineers coming down, we got 2 or 3 things, Terrell, that I need to look at, and we'll go by and look at that bridge as well. I'm not sure exactly how to fix it, but I'll ask him and get his thoughts on it. We almost got to jack it up some way, I don't want to break it, you know, and
But even when you get ready to do the work, it's gonna close the road off for a while, I would think. I don't know, I'm not an engineer.
It will.
You know.
But I think if we can, can just put some foundation under it and lift it back up, it won't be closed long.
Is there any way when they do look at that, widening it a little bit? Because there's a lot of traffic that goes up and down that
The
road.
only thing we might do with that is we might put a pipe in, but it may be too wide for that. But no way to really widen that particular bridge, but, we can see what we can do to make it better.
Chairman, I'm finished.
Last but not least, Miss Susan,
The quietest, I'm not gonna say anything.
you've already had your executive.
That's right, we've already had our executive session, so we don't need to go any further into that.
Well, before you close, may I ask Tyrell, I know Beth and I both get calls about the Cove Road, and I see where it's all drawn out, lined off. When do you project that you'll be able to finish the patching?
We actually went back out yesterday and started that patching on Cove Road and off the Cove Road.
Okay. And LL Rebel is right there, I told Darren, right off the northern part of the cove, or the southern part of the cove.
Right.
And I've gotten calls about that too. There's a lot in there that needs patching.
I turned in Upper Cove this week, somebody has called me about it.
Well, we actually did Upper Cove, started on this last Friday.
Yeah, somebody sent me a text and said, I hit one of your potholes.
Right before we close, Mr. Gay, is there any way possible, when people do submit their road request or whatever their concerns and complaint, it generates an email to us as the board and everything. Is there any way that we can get our IT person to generate something back to that individual, just to let them know that that department has received that request or received that information? Because a lot of times, what I'm hearing is they don't know, and then when they go and do the work, other than them looking and seeing the work, they don't never call us back and say, you've done a good job. I mean, but we're not expecting that. But should be a way to make sure that we let them know that we have received that information?
Right. I think we could, Skip, I would think that when it comes in, when we open it, couldn't we have the system send back a note that we've received it?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty good.
I know I receive emails sometimes that say,
Out of the office.
Yeah, automatic response.
So, we'll work on that.
Okay, thank you.
And one other thing, the striping, guys, we talked to them, and they should be here probably the next week to 2 weeks to start on the striping.
Okay. Well, we're up to public comment. For those of you that don't know how this works, you as citizens can come forward, give us your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to lay out.
My name's Tommy Barge. I live at 1291 Appleton Road, Gay, Georgia. I got a big problem with these truckers, fuel tankers, car haulers with 9 cars coming down that road, breaking it down. I've talked to the sheriff. He seems like it's an ICC problem, although he's the county law enforcement officer. So I don't know how to address it other than I'm trying to tell y'all, we got a problem there. I met a truck the other night after dark and almost had to go in the ditch, tractor trailer. I've seen Love's fuel tanker come through there. I've seen 3 9-car haulers come through there, and he was doing this to miss the tree limbs. I've seen beer tractor trailers come through there, the ones that goes around to the stores. All they're using Appleton Road for is a cut through from 362 when they come out of Griffin. They go hit Luthersville, which Luthersville is a no-through truck road also. And if you notice, they got ruts already cut out in the asphalt in places. So I don't know who's supposed to be in charge of getting it stopped or fixed or do something rather than, and I know other people have been here and brought this same subject up on the same road. And it wasn't like,
A no truck.
it's a no truck. Of course, you got a little sign over there that's about wide as a shoebox top. If you get one about maybe 3 by 3 and painted a real nice looking color that gets somebody's attention, that might help a little bit. Or put down under there $1,000 fine, strictly enforced, that might get somebody's attention. But so far, only thing I see is they just keep coming through there like nothing happened. I got log trucks, I got empty log trucks, I got milk tanker trucks, although there's a dairy over there right off of Rocky Mount Road. I can understand him coming down to Luthersville, but he's supposed to go to 362. That's the nearest state highway. You're supposed to go to the nearest state highway rather than run the county road. Alberton Road is 5.2 miles from Luthersville to George 85 approximately. It's 2.4 miles from Alberton Road from Luthersville Road to 362. So the least they could do is go down Alberton Road to 362. But that is also a no-through truck road, so we get no enforcement from nobody. The sheriff doesn't seem like he wants to talk about it, because when I addressed it to him, he seemed like all he could talk was ICC. He is the law enforcement officer of this county. It is his job to get it stopped. I don't care how he does it, but whatever it takes, he should be the one doing it. Now, I'm gonna come back in about another month, and I'm gonna see if anything has happened. And I appreciate y'all hearing me out. I'm not trying to get mean or nasty, but I'd just like to get it stopped.
I can empathize with you.
I mean, it's over and over and over. I've been there 5 years, and it's still the same thing going on over and over and over.
I'd like to stop there. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Are there others? Well, nobody's getting to their feet, so let me flip my sheet over here. We've already had our executive sessions. Just want to remind you, our future meetings, April 11th, 9 a.m. is our regular session. April 24th, 6 p.m. is our evening session. With that said, do I hear a move for us to adjourn? Is there a second? Second. All in favor? Meeting is adjourned. Thank y'all for being here.